Hello students, welcome back to online class of session 4 in computer science subject. Dear students, we were discussing about in the unit A, that is fundamentals of computers. We were in first chapter, that is overview of computers. In this chapter, we already discussed the introductory part, the functional components of the computer, evolution of computers. So today we are going to see in this session the generation of computers, classification of computers, and the application of computers I may discuss in the coming session. So let me recall few things what we discussed in the last sessions. I explained to you how computer functions. The computer functions, you have to give input as a data. The CPU performs or process the data as per the instructions supplied to it, and it produces output as a information, which we have seen. At the same time, how computer took birth, the evolution from the olden days, how they were using the different mechanical devices for counting purpose or to do arithmetic calculation, we have seen. So let me put it in front of you. See, this based on this evolution of computer over a period of time. It is effectively by dividing into different generations. So depending on the development of the technology, the generation of computer is classified as. So this was helped to develop a smaller, economical, powerful and efficient as well as reliable devices. The first generation was called these are vacuum tubes computers. It was almost in the mid of 19th century, that is from 1940 to 1956. Whatever computers were using, those computers were called or they will belongs to the first generation of the computer. In the later, that is from 1956 to 1963, the vacuum tube was replaced with the transistor, and that was called second generation of the computer. And after that, from 1964 to 1971, the transistor was replaced with the advanced version of transistor, that is integrated circuits came. And by using integrated circuits, so whichever computers were developed, those computers were belongs to third generation, or we called it third generation computers. Then later, after 1971 till today, these all integrated circuit putting together, we replaced with the microprocessor, and such type of computers are called fourth generation computers. And from present future, we can call it as a fifth generation computer. So that is mainly works based on the robotics. Already it is there in the market. So dear students, let me brief you these generations how it was working. So I'll explain you one by one. So I'll take first one, that is first generation. In the first generation, as I told with you, they mainly used vacuum tubes for switching circuits, and they used magnetic drums for storing as a memory. So that means the basic components of the computer, uh, to manufacture, they used vacuums. And the speed of these computers was very slow, and the storage capacity was very less. These computers are in large in size. They were looking very big in size. These computers were occupying a big room, and also it was used to consume lots of electricity. And this type of computers, I mean to say, belongs to this generation computers, operated only on machine language. So other than machine language, it was not knowing. The input was based on the punch card, and the output, that is normally used to come in the paper tapes, we used to get printout. We used to obtain as a printout, not like today what you can view in the monitor. It was as a hard copy. It was as output was generated. In America, with the success of icons, Howard, Mark 1 is the first American development in the computer race. That was the first computer came into the market, and this was not become very famous. So this was a first computer came into the, I mean, they invented in that university, and it was there in the checking purpose. And with this, they came up with the second contribution was the development of a giant ENIAC machine by John W. Mauchly and J. Presper Eckhart. These people invented the first, which is came into the market, that is called ENIAC. So that was this, and the later ENIAC, they came with the EDVAC, and after that UNIVAC. So these computers were belongs to the first. These computers belongs to the first generation. So let me show you the picture. So this is called vacuum tubes. Now here this is a circuit was there. By using this kind of vacuum tubes, they manufactured the different components of the computer. To show you, this is a ENIAC machine. This big machine was there. Today what is there in your laptop or in your pan, or it is just on the desktop, this computers was so big in 1940s, in 1950s. So this was there in the first ENIAC computer in Penn Engineering University. And this was invented by, as I told with you, the John W. Mauchly and J. Presper Eckhart. And the later came, this was EDVAC, and little changes they did, UNIVAC came. So what is ENIAC? ENIAC stands for Electrical Numerical Indicator and computer. So E is electrical, N is numerical, I is integrator, A is and C is computer. And this was used to 10 digits, that is decimal digits, instead of binary ones. So this is called, it is replaced the previous automated calculators and the computers. EDWAC, the next, as I said with you, EDWAC. Now EDWAC stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. And this was much improved version of ENIAC. The Mauchly and Eckart started working on 2 years before ENIAC even went into the operation. So these are the guys only who put effort to come with the EDWAC machine also. And the last one, which becomes public usage purpose, which was released, that is called UNIVAC, Universal Automatic Computer. So as I said, the first computer took birth is a Mark 1, and the later it came to the ENIAC, EDWAC, but these were not given to the market. But UNIVAC was the first computers given to the market. So UNIVAC means Universal Automatic Computer, and this was called first commercial computer produced in USA. So guys, this is about the first generation. So let me move to the next one, that is a second generation. As I told with you, in the second generation, the vacuum tubes were replaced with the transistor. And the transistor were much smaller than vacuum tubes. So because of this, the size decreased. The size of the computer was decreased, and at the same time, the performance speed increased, and compared to your first generation computers, and it became more reliable than earlier machines because of size. Compared to the first generation computer, this was generating less heat and consumed less electricity. As I told with you, the first generation computer were consuming lots of electricity. See, you might be seen in IT industry, they install AC. Whichever IT industry you see, there will be a centralized AC will be there, and all IT engineers will be worked with the AC environment. Do you think that the AC will be given for the employees only? No. The reason in those IT industry they are installing AC because the computer produces heat, and this heat irritates to the employee who are present there, who works there. So this should not be irritation for the people who are there, as well as the lifetime machine also should come more. For that purpose, they'll install AC to maintain the temperature in one level. So why the electronic machine always produces heat. So second generation computer used to produce heat, but comparatively for the first generation it was less. Second generation computers used punch cards for input and printouts for output, so which remained as it is. For input purpose, what you used to do, we used to punch card. The certain instructions or data was fed in the punch card, and we used to punch to the machine, and machine used to read that data, and according to the instruction it used to perform, and the output used to come in the printout as a printout in the paper. And in this generation, they used COBOL and Fortran programming language, which was introduced in the second generation, COBOL and Fortran. So that is what we say. From machine language, it moved to the assembly level language. The first generation computer were mainly depend upon the machine language itself, and the second generation moved to the machine language to assembly language. And the computer stored their instruction in their memory, which is moved to from magnetic drum to magnetic core technology. In the first generation, they were using magnetic drums. In the second generation, the magnetic drum was replaced with the magnetic core technology, which able to store more data compared to first generation. So let me show you, these are the transistor. Different types of transistor which is I have shown in the figure. So normally transistor will have 3 pins. Okay, so here 3 pins are there. In transistor, there are, as I said, 3 inputs are there. These inputs were called EBC. So E stands for emitter, B stands for base, and C stands for collector. So all different types of transistors, if are there, they'll have 3 inputs. Here 3, and this is also having 3. This is also having 3 inputs, and this is similar way others. So this is not one transistor will be there to construct a computer. Many transistors they'll put together to manufacture the components of the computer. Moving to the next generation, that is third generation. Now in the third generation, the transistor was replaced into the integrated circuit. Now what is integrated circuit? In short, we call it as an IC. Integrated circuits are which are made up with the plastic material, and the circuit which is molded inside in that plastic material. So here it's a many circuits put together, and they form one small device. So by using many integrated circuit, they developed the components of the computer. Now here was introduced the keyboard and the monitors for input and output devices, where first and second generation they used to use for inputting purpose punch cards, and for output purpose print out tapes and sheets, and this was replaced here with the keyboard as well as monitor. Now these ICs or integrated circuit increased the speed of processing and the storage capacity of the computer. So now see, today your computer, you see how fast it is working. The computer was not performed at a time or once only to perform that speed. It was slowly it was doing. So initially it was to handle only 10 digit number, then it is more to the digits increased. Okay. Now here in third generation 16-bit binary number it used to handle. That means 2 to the power 16. That big number it used to able to handle it. And these computers were become more reliable and smaller in size and become very faster compared to last two generations. And this type of computer means mainly for the third generation were used more in the commercial places and started moving to the other countries. It is started distributing the computers. The maintaining cost was low comparing to the previous generation and consumed less electricity. So that is the reason it became famous across the world. Giving you some of the example in this generation, so that is IBM 360 series machine came, Honeywell 6000 series, PDP, that is a personal data processor, IBM 370 par 168. These all machines came into the market and which were as I told with you, they distributed across the world. Let me show you this integrated circuit. As I told you, this is an IC. So this is one IC which is inserted on the motherboard. Now this is one more IC. This is one more IC. So it's a different types of ICs are there. According to the which component it is there, according to the circuit, and the plastic material was enclosed it with inside the this plastic material, that circuit will be there. Now today your many electronic components are there. Your mobile might be your TV or your fridge. They say IC gone. We have to replace the IC. That means integrated circuit. That's used to storing purpose also. It is used to performing processing purpose also. We'll make use of these ICs. Students, let me move to the next generation of the computers. That is fourth generation. And in the fourth generation, the microprocessor were placed instead of integrated circuit. And what is microprocessor? The microprocessor is used, many integrated circuit came together and it became microprocessor. And that in another way today we are calling CPU. The central processing unit, it is nothing but microprocessor. And in this generation, they used very large scale integration. The large scale of integration they made. So that's the reason this microprocessor came into the computer field. And that is why the computer became so fast and very famous. There are many tasks it used to execute in the fraction of seconds. And that is what today we are using the computers. Such type of computers are there. In our lab also we are those using which belongs to fourth generation. And this made of computers smaller in size and becoming more powerful. They could be linked to form a network. So today we are using internet. The internet came in the fourth generation itself. So we are transferring data from one location to another. We are browsing the data from another location to our location. This is all possible because of this technology was introduced, and that is the reason today the world becomes small, and even then this computer, they started using microprocessor. Because of that, the size of the computer also reduced, and in this generation, the took birth like mini computers, mainframe computers, personal computers, supercomputers, all these are there. This is just giving an idea. This is one type of microprocessor. This is another type. This is another type, nano mobile in their using. This is also which is inserted on the motherboard. This is called AMD processor. This is Intel. See here, this is Intel make. This is what we are using today. Core i7, i10. This is Core 2 Duo, which is a little bit old. This is what today we are using. This is there in PAM top or PDAs. Okay, so these all the microprocessor made our life easy. Going for the next generation, that is fifth generation, which is highly speaks about artificial intelligence. See, it's what we have intelligence, natural intelligence, what we say, which we received from naturally by birth. We received. Now, this is what our intelligence. We are collectively 3-4 people's or 300-500 people's intelligence putting together, and if you give it to the machine, so that will be called as artificial intelligence. So, which the machine itself takes decision according to the situation, according to the actions. The machine will take a decision. So that is what we have seen in the movies and everything. Robots. Okay, that is the reason this generation they called as a robotics. So machine starts think like a human, and this they made up by using the VLSI, that is very large scale of integration, as well as ultra large scale of integration technology, ULSI and VLSI. Keep this point in your mind. For 1 mark they may ask you ULSI stands for or VLSI stands for. And these computers are more intelligent and faster comparing to other generation computers. It is there in the market. There are many people are using it. Okay, maybe some type of desktops are there, laptops are there, notebooks are there, robots are there. This type of computers are called belongs to fifth generation. Maybe you people are everybody may start using after few years all fifth generation computers. Yes, my dear students, let me conclude this session here. So I could able to discuss with you the different generation of the computers. For before summarizing today's session, so just I'm keeping in front of you. We have seen today the 5 different generation in computer field from 1942 till today. So at the beginning, the first generation computer came with the vacuum tubes, and then later vacuum tubes were replaced with the transistor, and that called second generation, and transistor were replaced with the integrated circuits, and that called third generation, and this integrated circuits were replaced with the microprocessor, and that they called as a fourth generation, and then later the robotics introduced, and that they called as a fifth generation. Okay, so thank you very much for listening my talk, and stay home, stay safe, have a great time, and enjoy with your family. May God bless you.